Mr. Jenkins, Doug Jenkins, Franklin Foods, what do you enjoy most about the conference?
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk. This Food Shippers Conference is one of the better ones in regards to networking. I've had the pleasure of attending RELA prior to this and comparing the two, and really, RELA, nothing against that organization, but it's an opportunity for them to really appreciate their existing customers, where Food Shippers is definitely an opportunity to network and talk with whether it's people in the same industry or new providers, and just look at what do we need to do differently going forward to build a potential partnership.
I think you bring up a nice perspective that I don't know that everyone else shares. So thank you for sharing your insight. And this is you haven't been in the food business for a long period of time, but you've been in transportation for a very long time.
I have. I've been with Franklin Foods just shy of 2 years. Prior to that, I was with DSW, the shoe retailer, for 16. And prior to that, I was with Scott's Miracle-Gro for 12. So, my extensiveness and logistics is, definitely close to 30 years.
Wow. Joe, how about you? How long have you got?
Probably a little over 40 years between shippers, carriers, freight forwarders, warehouses. Been around though for a while. Career started in 75, where I worked in a public warehouse in New Jersey. Actually went to school at night at the Academy of Advanced Traffic in New York City, in the World Trade Center, in fact, for 2 years. And then same school, I took some courses to be an ICC practitioner, a non-lawyer, and did that, took the 8-hour ICC test, and the next year they deregulated the industry. So the ICC went away. Well, it didn't go away yet, but I did all that study. But I have a nice certificate at home that I have on my wall.
So, Mr. Jenkins, what would you say was the biggest challenge going from dry freight to refrigerated? What would you say has been maybe an eye-opener?
Transportations. You're dealing with providers, you're dealing with drivers. That doesn't change between the two. It's a non-perfect industry that you just got to be adaptable. But I think the biggest change of going to a refrigerated was just the appointments of scheduling with your customers and some of the challenges that you face. With Franklin Foods, most of our trucks are multi-stop. And with that being said, it becomes difficult if the driver is either detained or misses their appointment, because it has that domino effect with your other customers around that trailer. So dealing with that, prior industry, we didn't do as many stop-offs. Usually it's one or two at like Scott's Miracle-Gro. And at DSW, I didn't have to do stop-offs. It was full trucks going to destination. So my biggest one, and still is today, is how do we do a better job of scheduling appointments and making sure that the driver is successful at meeting those appointments.
I would agree with you. I think the industry's always been difficult from an appointment scheduling perspective. I would say after 2014, 2015, we saw the windows for receiving on refrigerated shrink, right? Because I think that the technology hit our industry, and the impact of that was everyone trying to drive for maximum efficiency from a warehousing perspective also. Mm-hmm. So it didn't just hit the over the road with the tracking and the traceability and the hours of service. I think it all kind of hit us at once.
Yeah.
And we saw a shrinking of the windows for delivery, availability options. Before you used to pick up phones and be able to communicate with people and have a relationship with the receiving manager and said, I've got to make a stop here on the way to you. I'm going to be 8 p.m. getting there. And someone would say, no problem, John. We know your truck will be here because you got a good history with us. We'll make sure somebody on second shift pulls it off.
Yeah.
That's done.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with you. It's scheduling is all through computers. Interaction with individuals is very minimum, and when you do have those types of situations, it's difficult to get it properly rectified because you don't know who to reach out. Phone numbers are almost non-existent now on when people send emails to you. So, you're relying on them to look at their emails in a timely manner to help address the situation, because calling a distribution center receiving department, most of the time it's going directly to a voicemail.
Yep. So I would say I agree 100%. That's a big, real struggle that we all face. It's either that or it's when you get the order, there's no appointments available before you get the order. As soon as you get it in your hands, it has to be scheduled immediately.
Yes. We do have one customer that fits that perfectly, that they're scheduling 3 to 4 weeks out.
Yep.
And so Franklin Foods is a make to order we allow 21-day lead time. So as soon as I do get that particular customer's order, I am going into the system and scheduling it. And then building loads or stops around that as the time comes.
Yep. So that shipment will be driving the rest of the bus.
Exactly.
And you just have to build around it.
You do. And every distribution center operates a little differently. Some are, evening receiving, some are during the day. So getting to know your customers and their DCs and trying to, build loads based on their requirements, their unloading schedules. Again, it's a continual education of trying to do a better job at what we're doing today.
So at Franklin Foods, what would you say is something that allows you to become a shipper of choice for your providers?
So 2 things. Obviously, just trying to accommodate the drivers, be as friendly to the drivers as possible. One of the things that we take pride on is we get drivers in and out within an hour, even though we're first come, first serve. As long as proper communications done up front when they want to come and pick it up, we'll always have the load staged up. So as soon as the driver's checked in, and making sure that multiple drivers are not coming in at the same time, which we can't necessarily prevent. But I would say a high percentage of the time the drivers do check in, they get properly placed in the door and back on the road in an hour. And we do see and receive a lot of compliments from our partner carriers about the accommodation of both our facilities and how quickly we get drivers back out on the road.
I think that's a big thing.
It is a big thing, and the other part is obviously, just paying our bills on time. You're performing a service. Obviously, with today's terms and so forth, you're essentially floating us money because your carrier partners expect payment much sooner than what you're getting from your own customers.
You bring up a great point. At Triple T Transport, for example, we've been open since 1988. All of our carriers have been compensated and paid in full within 7 to 10 days.
Exactly.
And you set an example that you understand the cash flow situation and that you're there to do good business. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that the industry needs more of.
Right.
Because I don't know many shippers that pay within 7 to 10 days.
I find very few,
yes,
if any. Unless there's a nice financial incentive for them to do so.
Right.
Correct.
Continue watching on the next episode of the Stay in Your Lane podcast.